Today we're going through the anime that are airing this spring season. Based on the trailers, we'll rank our initial impressions, and when the season ends, we'll compare those guesses to our final review tier list, so stay tuned for that. For the returning seasons, we have Wistoria, Wand and Sword Season 2. It'll be interesting to see the bad guys step into the spotlight a little more, because it looks like the fight is coming to the town around the school. I hope we learn more about their motivations besides just being evil, and that we see more cool displays of magic. The first season of the most heretical last boss queen from Villainess to Savior was pretty solid, and I remember enjoying the character interactions and relationships the most. But I'll have to rewatch it ahead of season 2 to re-immerse myself before making any assumptions about these two new suitors that she's being presented with. Dr. Stone's Science Future Cour 3 will be the final part of the final season. I'm so excited to watch all of Science Future, and my fingers are crossed that the ending will be well handled because we really enjoyed previous seasons of Dr. Stone, and I want it to go out with a bang. Classroom of the Elite second year will be the 4th season for the series. I think the setup for the Duos project sounds like it could be interesting, although I don't know how engaging a written exam would be when conveyed visually. But I'm looking forward to discovering who the second White Room character is. With The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten Season 2, I hope we get continued cohabitating cuteness. We'll have to rewatch Season 1 though, because I don't remember all of the details of their relationship, but I did give it an 8 out of 10 originally, so we'll see. We know of a few shows that are carrying over into later seasons, but we're still going to keep our eye on them, such as ReZero Season 4. It almost looks like a different show. From the trailer, it's hard to recognize too many of the foundations that the story has built up from the past, and instead we're presented with new villains and new environments. We might also be death resetting more often this time, which would make it more interesting than last season. But they're going to split the 19 episodes apart, so we won't get to watch this until at least October. For Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun Season 4, I'm getting a bit of series fatigue, but I still want to give it a try. I hope they can cover more than just the school festival here. With Ascendance of a Bookworm Season 4, it'll be interesting to see how the show carries itself if she's separated from her family and having to integrate with noble society. For new series, we're starting with Hat Atelier, which is giving very serious show of the season energy. The magic has a compelling system, the character designs draw you in, and the animation is gorgeous. I haven't read the manga, but I've only heard good things, so I'm hopeful that the story will grip me. As for Demons of the Shadow Realm, I don't know if the character designs are different enough from Fullmetal Alchemist for me. Because watching the trailer, I kept being like, oh, that looks like Hawkeye or whoever, and I don't know if I want to have that in the back of my head the whole time I'm watching it. Maybe I'll just adapt over time. But I'm excited by the prospect of a story about fighting demons as told by Hiromu Arakawa. And what's going on with the village being old school, but there being glimpses of a modern world? There seem to be a decent amount of mysteries to unpack here. The warrior princess and the barbaric king has some potential with the forced proximity arranged marriage situation, and I was surprised to see some magical beings in the trailer as well. I think this has the ability to be a fun romance with a lot of character growth and maybe some adventuring. MARRIAGETOXIN was pretty entertaining for the first 2 volumes of the manga that I read, and Studio Bones being at the helm makes me think that they'll do a good job with the action scenes, so I'm looking forward to this one. The premise for Liar Game sounds really cool, but the trailer energy seemed kind of flat. The sort of 90s style animation will either be an interesting touch, or it could add another layer of disappointment. My hopes are not very high for this one, but I do still want to give it a try. I think my enjoyment of Akane-banashi will depend on how they handle the balance between her being on stage and her investigating what happened to her father. I'm not sure how much I would want to sit through her Rakugo performances, and since that's the crux of the story, this might not be for me. Mistress Kanan is Devilishly Easy seems like an ecchi first love / misunderstandings show. I want to know how much of the demon element will actually come into play here. I'm concerned by the fact that this is described as episodic though, because I like shows better when they carry a storyline through the whole thing. Go For It Nakamura-kun being a BL comedy appeals to me a lot, and I think it has potential to be really cute. I just hope that Nakamura's shy, nervous nature isn't too off-putting. Petals of Reincarnation seems cool and unique, but I hope that it establishes a goal or a purpose pretty quickly because I didn't feel like I saw that in the trailer. The pseudo-powers inherited from the historical figures makes this feel Bungo Stray Dogs adjacent, so that might work in its favor. Gals Can't Be Kind to Otaku has a love triangle with some potential, but I think the best girl just from the trailer is Amane. I would like to see the show do a little bit of what My Dress-Up Darling accomplishes in the sense that he gets to share his passions with people that are positive towards him about it, and he ends up having a good friend group with them having a little bit of chemistry. But I do worry that this could fall into the teasing genre of anime instead. Looking at Agents of the Four Seasons, Dance of Spring, the music and the setup for the story make it seem like this could be another tearjerker, especially considering that it's written by the Violet Evergarden author. The animation also looks really pretty, and the manifestations of the season sound super cool, so we'll just have to prep the hankies. The strongest occupation is not a hero or a sage, but an appraiser. Provisional is another entry into the isekai with an appraiser skill subgenre. It also looks like the kind of show that adds a lot of side characters and then could become overwhelming from that aspect. We'll see if the magic or circumstances have anything of interest to offer. Mal reminds me a lot of Inuyasha, which is unsurprising considering it's written by the same author. I don't know if it'll be able to stand out enough on its own, or if it'll just feel like the same story with a different coat of paint, but I'm willing to give it a try. We'll also be trying observation records of my fiancé, the misadventures of a self-proclaimed villainess, because you never know if it's going to be a good villainess show until you dig into it, and there's a possibility for it to be interesting since it seems like they're setting it up to be from the prince's perspective instead of hers. I'm sad that the classroom of a black cat and a witch has a school setting, but I think that the magical pact between her and the cat is really interesting as a hook, and I hope that the magic system would be cool. There might even be a little bit of romance sprinkled in, which could be fun. The synopsis for Always a Catch, How I Punched My Way into Marrying a Prince claims that it's a villainess show, but I feel like the staples of the genre weren't presented in the trailer. So I would be interested to see what context watching the show would actually bring, and I hope that we don't spend too much time in the academy. With Kill Blue, the premise of an adult being transformed back into their younger self and having to still accomplish their assassin job under those conditions is just too good of a hook not to try. For part in the Intrusion, I'm Home, accidentally ending up as roommates under strange circumstances could lead to some promising comedic moments. We'll have to see if the romance element works out though, depending on her chemistry with the guys. The trailer for Eren the Southpaw was charged with raw emotion, and I think the struggle for recognition of your creativity and efforts is a very relatable issue for artists. It seems there might also be dynamics at his work that add to the frustration of trying to express yourself while conforming to social demands. Aside from Hat Atelier, I'm most excited for Agents of the Four Seasons. Which new series are you looking forward to the most?
The show I'm most excited for is Demons of the Shadow Realm, but I also have lower expectations but still hopeful for Petals of Reincarnation, and if the mystery of Akane-banashi goes well, it has potential.
In total, we plan to check out 27 shows for the spring season. As for our predictions of which shows we'll like the best and which shows we might drop, here's our best guess.
And we just made new playlists breaking down our anime reviews by genre that we will keep updated if you want to check them out.
Let us know in the comments which shows you're looking forward to the most for spring 2026, and if you're having fun, please like and subscribe.